Greetings everybody, it's your old pal Frank here, coming at you today with a different type of video. You see, today is November 11th, Remembrance Day. And I, unlike many others, do not have any family members who fought in the war or served in the military. But I take great pride in honoring those before me who fought for their country, fought for mine and my country's freedom. And today I wanted to shed some light on 10 former NHLers who decided to put their promising careers on hold and go fight for their country as well. But before we get to them, let me just say this. Remembrance Day is a special day. We remember those who gave their lives for others in faraway places. Today's heroes fight in places such as Afghanistan and Iraq. And we are reminded of their sacrifices almost daily. And we remember them specifically on November 11th. But we also remember past heroes who fought in places such as Vietnam and Korea, and in the two great wars. In honor of men and women, past and present, who have taken or are risking their lives for the rest of us, today, as I mentioned, I'm taking a look at 10 of the best players who took a leave of absence for military service. Now, just remember, any names not mentioned today are, of course, not forgotten, and their accomplishments are still very much noteworthy. But when you hear the names below, you'll see why some great players simply couldn't be included. Now, on to our list. Number 10, Woody Dumart. So Dumart was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1992. Dumart was also a member of the famed Kraut line in Boston. And for those of you out there who aren't familiar with the Kraut line, they were one of the most dominating lines in the NHL in the late 30s and early 40s, comprising of Woody Dumart, Bobby Bauer, and Milt Schmidt, whom all three enlisted in the Canadian Armed Forces during the prime of their careers, and didn't return to the NHL for 3.5 years. Dumart was a three-time All-Star whose NHL career spanned a whopping 18 years. Number 9, Gordie Drillin. So Gordie played just 7 NHL seasons before joining the Canadian military for 3 years in 1943. But Drillin was one of the most electrifying players of his era. In fact, he was like the Austin Matthews of the late 30s. The three-time All-Star won the Art Ross and Lady Byng trophies in 1938 and was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1975. Number 8, Ken Reardon. Inducted to the Hall in 1966, Reardon was one of the most fearsome and intimidating defensemen of his era. He enlisted in the Canadian Armed Forces after the 41-42 season and didn't return to the NHL until the 45-46 season. For his dedication overseas, he was awarded the Field Marshal Montgomery Certificate of Merit for acts of bravery during battle. Reardon was a 5-time All-Star in just 7 NHL seasons. Number 7, Sid Abel. The center on Detroit's famed production line with Gordie Howe and Ted Lindsay, Abel was inducted to the Hall of Fame in 1969. He played parts of 14 NHL seasons, missing 2 during World War II while with the Royal Canadian Air Force. He was a 4-time All-Star and won the Hart Trophy in 1949. Number 6, Turk Broda. Broda was inducted to the Hall of Fame in 1967 after 302 NHL victories with Toronto and 2 years with the Canadian Armed Forces during the Second World War. He was a 3-time All-Star and a 2-time Vezina Trophy winner. Number 5, Hobey Baker. The United States' first hockey superstar. Baker played in the old 7-man system as a rover. He was one of the most skilled players of his time and ran roughshod over the collegiate ranks. After starring for Princeton University, Baker played amateur hockey before joining the U.S. Air Force in the First World War and was awarded the Croix de Guerre, or War Cross, for his abilities. Baker was unfortunately killed in a post-war flying accident. The Hobey Baker Memorial Award, named in his honor, is given each year to the NCAA's top player. Number 4, Max Bentley. Bentley was one of 3 NHL Bentley brothers. He was also one of the best players of his day. He spent 2 of his prime playing years in the Canadian military during World War II, but still managed to be named an All-Star twice, win 2 scoring titles, a Hart Trophy, and a Lady Byng Trophy, and he was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1966. Number 3, Frank Brimsek, or Mr. Zero as he was nicknamed. Spent 10 seasons in the NHL, 9 tending goal for Boston, and 1 with Chicago. 8 of those seasons, he was named either a first or second team All-Star. He also won the Calder Trophy and twice won the Vezina Trophy. He won 252 games and was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1966. During the Second World War, Brimsek served 2 years with the U.S. Coast Guard in the South Pacific. Number 2, Syl Apps. A 5-time All-Star, Apps won the Calder Trophy and the Lady Byng Trophy during his career, averaging better than a point per game at a time when few managed the feat. The center spent his entire NHL career with the Toronto Maple Leafs, interrupted by 2 years in the Canadian Armed Forces during World War II. Before we get to our number 1 spot, I wanted to go over a few honorable mentions of some other famous athletes who decided to take time out of their careers to go fight for their country. Ted Williams, the Splendid Splinter, entered active duty with the Navy in 1943, 1 year after winning the AL Triple Crown. Williams served 3 years and was certified as a naval aviator in 1944. 8 years later, at the age of 33, Williams was recalled to active duty for service in the Korean War, where he flew 39 combat missions. The Red Sox great hit 521 home runs and had a lifetime .344 batting average. Roger Staubach. Staubach won the Heisman Trophy in 1963 as the quarterback at the Naval Academy. Although he was drafted by the Dallas Cowboys, he still had to perform his required post-graduation service time. Staubach served in the Navy Supply Corps from 1964 to 1968, which included a tour of duty in Vietnam. After his service, Staubach joined the Cowboys and led them to 2 Super Bowl victories in 1972 and 1978. John Wooden, the Wizard of Westwood, served in the Navy during World War II as a physical education instructor. His aptitude for teaching stuck with him as he became one of the greatest basketball coaches of all time. His UCLA teams won 10 national championships, including 7 in a row. Tom Landry, the legendary Cowboys coach, served in the Army Air Corps from 1942 to 1945 and rose to the rank of 2nd lieutenant. During his enlistment, Landry completed 30 combat missions and survived a crash landing in Belgium. After the war, Landry went on to play football for the University of Texas and the New York Giants, before coaching the Dallas Cowboys to 2 Super Bowl victories over 29 years. Pat Tillman. Tillman stands as the most famous example of a 21st century athlete giving up his playing career for military service. The former Cardinals safety enlisted in the Army Rangers with his brother Kevin in 2002. On Tillman's second tour of duty in Afghanistan, unfortunately he was killed in a friendly fire incident. He was posthumously awarded the Silver Star and Purple Heart, among several other military honors. Number 1. Milt Schmidt. The most famous NHL war veteran, Schmidt enlisted in the Royal Canadian Air Force in 1942. He lost 3.5 years in the prime of his career, was a 4-time All-Star, and won the Art Ross Trophy and the Hart Trophy an amazing 11 seasons apart. He was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1961. And that's my list. I hope you enjoyed it, but most of all, and I'm not telling you how to go about your day, but if you're able to, I ask you this. 1, wear a poppy. 2, attend a Remembrance Day ceremony. And 3, this is a big one, if you get the chance, tell a vet thank you and shake their hand. Because as the years go on and fewer of them are left on this planet, a lot of people tend to forget the ultimate sacrifice these men and women made for our freedom. So, yeah, if you get the chance, tell a vet thank you and shake their hand. Now, normally, at the end of my video, I play a little ditty and I tell you, as I say at the end of every video, folks, not today. Today's a little different. Today, I end my video with my all-time favorite poem, In Flanders Fields, for you out there to read, of course, followed by The Last Post and The Rouse. So to you folks, I say thank you for watching, and I'll see you back here on Monday.